So without further ado, I wanted to talk to Mr. Bruce Buffer, who has been so kind to me over the years. In fact, back in 2001, when I was hosting the Main Event sports show for WERW in Syracuse, New York, the Syracuse University student station, which no one listened to, I sent an email to brucebuffer.tv to ask Mr. Bruce Buffer to come on my program. I was an absolute nobody. I'm still a nobody. And he was kind enough to reply. He was kind enough to agree. And he was kind enough to give me like an hour of his time when literally me, my mom, and my sister were listening. That's the kind of mensch Bruce Buffer is. 20 years later, he is back on a different kind of show, and he's back on Saturday, and it's great to have him on the show. There he is. Bruce.
I'm right here.
How are you?
Ariel, I'm so good right now. It's been a heck of a couple of weeks. Let me put it that way.
So let's talk about this. How did you get COVID, Bruce?
I don't know. That's the strange thing about this virus. All I can tell you is that I'm very full of safety and protocol. I talk about it on my podcast all the time. I'm probably, if there's an example of somebody who's as careful as could possibly be not to infect my family and everything else, it's me. But the week before I got the virus, which I tested positive on Thursday, I started feeling sick on a Wednesday. The previous weekend, I flew to Vegas. I was at a UFC. Then I appeared for the Raiders the next day. If you notice, when you watch me on the UFC, I walk into the octagon, I have my mask on. I strictly follow mask protocol because I believe in it. I'm vaccinated. I believe in that too. And then all I can say is that, sorry about that.
No problem.
All I can say is that maybe during that weekend, the best I can think about, I mean, could it be that I went and played blackjack for a little bit, touched the chips? Could it happen there? Could it have happened at the UFC? Just being around, sure, some of the people there, although we were at the Apex. Could it have happened at the Raider game when I took my mask off to, announce in front of 70,000+ people with the people up there on the dais that I announced from. And then I went to the suite afterwards and I spent time with Chris Angel, the magician, and a number of people. And strangely enough, 5 days after I got it, Chris Angel came down with it.
Oh, no.
So where's the common denominator? I mean, could we have been around somebody there? Then my friend who was with me that weekend, she did not get it. And she was at the Raider game with me. So, but she wasn't at the UFC with me. So try to figure it out.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
It's just weird. But all I can tell everybody is that this is not over. If I get it, anybody can get it. As if anybody can get it. You hear of people coming down, Bon Jovi, on and on and on. And it doesn't matter if you're a celebrity. I'm not a particular fan of that word. We're people. We're all equal in my mind. So anybody can get it. So just play it safe, and it's no joke. That's all I can tell you. I'm in really good shape. You know that.
Yes.
I take good care of myself. I eat right. I train right. I've been an athlete my entire life. Yes, I'm 64. I don't know what this would have been had I not had for me, I took the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, right? I don't know how bad it would have gotten had I not had the vaccine. The vaccine is not armor to avoid getting it, but it's armor to avoid going in the hospital.
Sure.
And my gardener died from it.
No way.
I have 6 degrees. Oh, yeah. I have 6 degrees of separation from at least a half dozen people that have died from it. Numerous people in respirators in the hospital, from Chuck Zito to you name it, that are all buddies of mine. It's no joke. That's all I can tell you. I mean, the flu, I haven't had the flu since my 20s. So it was like the worst flu you could have, the body aches, the headaches, all that goes with it. And then after, I think a lot of people probably suffer a little PTSD afterwards. It's like, oh, yes, I'm clean. But is it okay to go around somebody? And now it's like the fear of getting it again, because I know people that are getting it twice.
Right.
Wild world we live in. And, people, I did not go to Abu Dhabi. Dana was so cool. Everybody at the UFC was so cool. They were all there for me. Dana's like, anything you need, whatever. My Cal Ripken streak is over in respect to numbered pay-per-views, even though it wasn't a pay-per-view here in America. But streaks are meant to be made, streaks are meant to be broken. And I'd like to see somebody try and beat that 25-year streak.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, my friends.
I don't think it's going to happen. Especially because you're going to be around for like the next 40 years still doing this. By the way, I can't believe you're 64, Bruce. Holy smokes. I would have said 52 max.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Still packing the 6-pack and doing what I got to do. Just, me.
Yes.
I train, I always like to be in good shape. Your body's a vessel. I don't care how much money you have, how much greatness you have. If you don't have your health, you got nothing. Right?
Now, when you had it, how you mentioned you didn't go to the hospital. I'm so happy to hear that. Happy to hear that you were vaccinated, protected to a certain degree. But how bad did it get?
It got really bad over 4 days.
Really?
I was going to see my friend Wednesday night, and I called her and I said, listen, I can't. I've got a temperature now. I don't feel well. And that's the first sign. You get that, you better hold off from going to see anybody. Even if it's a common cold, you still don't want to give anybody the flu or common cold. And I tested that night on one of these Binax home rapid tests, and it didn't show that I had COVID, right? Next morning, I went to get a formal test. Boom, it's there. You know, it's weird when that doctor turns around to you and tells you have COVID. I can't begin to tell you the feeling. Your whole life goes in front of you like, well, what do I do now? I got so much to do, so much work, all these companies I run, and aside from my appearances in the UFC, you know, and you got to go through a self-realization in the process. And then I went home and I did the Binax test again, and boom, the next morning I was positive on that test.
Wow.
So it was immediate quarantine. And thank God I love my home. I wouldn't want to be quarantined in a single apartment.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Seriously. Now, so for you to not do an event, a numbered event, sorely missed. You could see last week when the news came out, the fans were bummed. Everyone was bummed because you are a fixture. You are part of the fabric that is the UFC, and especially those numbered events. Absolutely. And you know this. Now, to watch it at home, and I know it wasn't now, I'd say the pay-per-view streak is still alive, Bruce. I mean, there's a loophole in all of this. I feel like the pay-per-view streak is still alive, but the numbered event streak, of course, as you say, is over. To watch it at home, a big event, the title fights and all that stuff, what was it like for you?
I don't want to say it was painful. It's just that I love being in the octagon. I work every night. I go out there to prove to myself, the powers that be like Dana, you, and the fans and the fighters, that I deserve this job. Every night's my first night when I step in. It's been that way for 25 years. So it was like missing the birthday party. It was missing the New Year's Eve party. It was missing the party. And you know, Joe does a very fine job. I'm glad that he represents the UFC the way he does. That's my office, man. And I wasn't at work, and it wasn't fun. You know, I would have loved to have been there for Glover. You know, an amazing achievement on his part to beat the beast and Blachowicz that Blachowicz is. You know, the Sanhagen-Jan fight. It was, you know, Chimaev.
Yes.
What can you say about him? You know, watching all these great fights and a great night of action. Yes, I wanted to be there. And I know that the people in Abu Dhabi really wanted me. And it was, you know, I hate disappointing people. Ariel, I hate it. I'm not that kind of person. You know that. I bust my butt to do whatever I need to do in life to fulfill my job. And yeah, it was painful. That's the best way I can put it. But at the same time, I love seeing the UFC have a great night of action. I love seeing the fans get their entertainment. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank all the fans, the thousands of messages. I was going to stay quiet about it. I talked about it on my podcast the day before. Dana broke it out to the media, and then boom, it was like everywhere. I couldn't believe the press coverage had got it. Come on, I'm the friggin' announcer.
Come on, Bruce. People love you.
I'm humble about it. Like you're humble. You're humble. I'm humble. You know, I just believe that's a good quality. I feel I'm equal to everybody around me. We're all created equal. Try to announce against me, I will kick your butt. Okay. Maybe in a couple other things too. But as far as life in general, I treat everybody with respect. You know that. And I'm all about the fans and the fighters. So it's just my attitude. I can't change it. It's just who I am.
Now, with all due respect to Abu Dhabi, great place, great arena, great crowd.
Yes.
It ain't no MSG. MSG is a little different. It's the Mecca. Were you afraid? Were you worried? Oh my gosh, the big return 2 years away. I might miss MSG as well. Were you nervous about that?
Well, yeah, I can't say that I wasn't, because when you're feeling like crap and you hear all the horror stories that people go through this, because there is a long period sometimes after, hopefully most people get over it in the 10 to 14 period that the CDC puts forth. But yeah, you know, I thought, oh, this is one of the reasons that 5 days away or 6 days away, I talked to the UFC and we decided together, and I said, listen, I think it's best I don't go. You know, I don't know how I'm going to feel, and I don't want to hold you up if suddenly I'm still sick and you got 2 days to put somebody in the octagon. So, you know, please call Joe, set him up for the show, which I'm sure he loved to do. And I was thinking, you know, about the company, right? I don't want to hold up a multi-million dollar production if suddenly I feel like crap. And on the other end too, Ariel, the thing is that you can still test positive after this 10 or 14 day period, right? Because there's viral particles laying dormant in your body. It doesn't mean you're contagious. That's usually over at the 10 days without any symptoms for 4 days or 14 days. I wanted to observe a 14-day quarantine, and I didn't want to go over to Abu Dhabi and possibly test positive. And I don't know how it would have been treated there.
Sure.
No matter what protective I have from the UFC, we're in another country, right? I lost enough money during that 10-day period, on the other businesses and everything that I was supposed to be doing. So great, that's money lost. It's not money lost. It's money not earned. Okay, my health is more important. But I don't want to think about if I get held up for another week.
Right.
So I had to make a conscientious decision. And I also wanted to make sure that I was in the best shape possible, because I want to go into that octagon on Saturday night and roar the friggin' roof off of MSG. Okay. Like I said, it's going to be my first night all over again. It always is when I step in. I don't care if it's the Apex or, 20,000 people in Madison Square Garden, whatever it's going to be. I have a job to do. And I have to serve the fighters, and I have to serve the fans, and I have to serve the powers that be like Dana and do my job. And that's what I want to do.
Now, how are the lungs?
And I want to be 100%.
Of course. So how are the lungs? I mean, that's your moneymaker, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's one of the biggest fright factors I had. I mean, I started feeling it in my lungs, and I started coughing, and coughing up stuff. And I'm like, oh man, is this going to go where I think it's going to go? And what I did was the second day, and I know it's expensive, not everybody can afford it, but I was able to arrange what people stand in line for, or maybe don't even get. I was able to arrange to get an IV bag of Regeneron. Mm-hmm. People were saying ivermectin and all this, and I had more doctors telling me not to versus the ones that said to, so I held off on that. But I did the Regeneron and all the vitamins and the minerals and vitamin packs, and I really think that helped me bang through this.
So no ill effects.
I don't feel ill effects right now. I feel good, and I think my lungs are 100%.
Are you?
I'm ready to roar.
You practice at home, like you've given them a test run, right? You've given the lungs a test run at home. Do you emulate? Do you go to the decibel that you would go at MSG? Is that even possible for you?
No, because I'll tell you why I don't do that. Even getting off a sickness like this, I don't rehearse. Right? There's a rehearsal voice and there's an organic, natural voice.
Okay. I
go out and feel the energy of the crowd and I let it fly. Okay. I'll go over the names to make sure I say the names correctly in my head. But no, if anything, the rehearsal came because I do a ton of cameo videos and the video requests that come into brucebuffer.com, and even though I was sick, I was able to, after about 4 days, I started, doing all those again. And if anything, that helped me keep it going and cleared my lungs. Okay. But by about the 10th day, I started feeling great, and I just started banging them all out.
Yeah, I was thinking. I remember seeing you at an event. You had the towel around your neck. You had the tea in your hand. I mean, you take care of it. Obviously, you should take care of yourself and your lungs. And so that was the first thing that I thought. I pray and I hope no ill effects, that there's not that mucus in there and all that stuff. And so I'm happy to hear that you're saying that all is good, that you're in good shape.
Yes.
Now. Yeah.
Yes. There was. Yeah. But not now.
Good.
It's all good. You know what I did? I was kidding about this. Little plug or whatever.
Oh, let's go, Bruce. Let's go.
Let's do it. During the day, my new It's Time energy drink. It's the most natural drink. It's made for athletes, full of vitamins. This is incredible. I'll get you some when we get.
Is it at the stores now? On. Like I could go to 7-Eleven or whatever to get this?
Next year, you're going to be able to go to every store you can think of and get this. This is being distributed worldwide. Right now, I opened it up and distributed in the UK. It'll be opening up on Amazon here in America next month, but next year, you name it, you'll see it. This is big. This is one of the biggest things I've ever done, but it's one of the greatest products I've ever made. There is no energy drink on the market that can claim to be the natural energy drink with all the ingredients and vitamins and minerals infused in this. There's no crash. There's no nothing, but there's 200 milligrams of caffeine in here from green coffee beans, and everything. This thing gives you a punch. Wow. With no crash. This got me through some rough days. I'm being completely honest about that. That first 4 days I woke up, it's the flu or, whatever it is. You don't want to get out of bed, Thank God for football and online poker. That's all I can tell you. I was able to in the World Series. And then at night,
you got your puncher's chance.
A little puncher's chance.
Let's go, Bruce. Past. I mean, you're unbelievable. How do you get involved in all this stuff, Bruce? And how involved are you? What is that? Correct me for whiskey, right? Is puncher's chance whiskey?
Puncher's Chance. Didn't I send you a bottle?
You did, but I'm not a connoisseur, so I don't know what to call it. I've had it. It's tremendous.
Oh, that's okay.
Whiskey?
Thank you. This is Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
Okay.
My distillery is in Kentucky. My partners were behind Cabo Wabo, Sammy Hagar's Tequila, Campari, and Skinny Girl. Huge brands that sold for hundreds of millions of dollars, right? We've won 6 gold medals for the finest tasting bourbon in America, 3 gold medals for the finest design bottle. I have the bottles made in France. I'm very heavily involved. I'm a partner in the company. I'm involved in all the marketing and the decision-making process. I searched them out. When I saw that the brand was Puncher's Chance, I thought, oh my God, that's who I am.
Mhm.
Puncher's Chance is about how one punch can change your life. I've been an underdog in everything I've done my whole life and succeeded, and along with a couple of failures here, but I've been able to get past. Like when I took over the management, my brother, Michael Buffer, whose birthday was yesterday, turned
Happy
77.
birthday. Amazing.
Happy birthday, Michael. I gave up two companies. I was making a tremendous amount of money, Beach House, the whole bit, but I was burned out. I was so burned out. I needed something passionate. And I went and took over Michael's management, told him to make a richer, more famous he ever dreamed. I want to be an announcer. I had all these, goals, video games, you name it. And he even said, how are you going to do this? I said, I don't know. Everybody thought I was crazy, right? Well, we know what happened there. I mean, that's called a puncher's chance.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw this, it fit who I am. But when I tasted it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a bourbon drinker. This is the finest bourbon I've ever drank in my life. And I'm not just saying that because it's my bourbon. I mean, I love being a product of the product. This is incredible. And right now we're the fastest selling, highest rated craft distilled bourbon in America.
Wow.
So, Conor McGregor, you can sell your proper 12 and still hang on. I'm going to beat that sale. Watch what I do in the next 5 years.
Oh my God.
Watch what I do.
I love it.
Now this,
yes,
huge.
You versus The Rock.
Worldwide.
Doesn't The Rock have one of those?
The Rock has Zoa.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing, I love The Rock. Dwayne's a great guy.
You're going to lay the smackdown on The Rock. You're going to kick his ass.
Lay the smackdown.
Come on.
The Rock comes out with an energy drink. I'll come out with an energy drink. The Rock comes out with tequila.
Yeah.
I'll come out with a bourbon. But now I beat The Rock.
Oh.
I'm coming out with something that is going to be really incredible. If you'll give me a second, I'll show it to you.
Sure,
I'm coming out with a whole line of toiletry products and cologne.
Wow.
The It's Time cologne. It's incredible. It's an amazing company that I deal with.
Whole new meaning to It's Time when you're talking about cologne, right?
Say again, please.
A whole new meaning to It's Time when you're talking about cologne.
I always said to everybody, and I'll even put this challenge out to you, Ariel, if you can just give me a sentence,
yeah,
and I can't put It's Time in front or behind it about anything, I'll send you $1,000. I'll PayPal you $1,000 in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, no.
You won't be able to. I mean, try. You won't be able to. I mean, that's what I do, and it's really. I got to show you this thing.
Okay,
sure. Give me a second while we're talking.
Yeah,
I'm sorry
to
not be looking at you.
No, it's okay.
But I'm very excited about this. When you go into the store, like the airports, when you see Julia Roberts and Matthew McConaughey and other people, Kardashian, and they have their colognes and their perfumes and all that. This is going to crack you up.
Oh, look at that. Wow. In the tux. I mean, that is class right there, Bruce. When does that come out?
Well, this will come out next year. It's going to be distributed all over the world, along with about 50 different toiletry products. I'm going to have packages of the It's Time body wash, face wash, moisturizer, the whole bit. I've been working on some big products. That's what my partner Kristen and I do here. I branded Michael and put him into a ton of different things.
Yep.
I teach branding and marketing to companies. To me, all business is the same. It's just the product that's different, and I apply the same principles. So, there's a lot more to it than that, of course. But I side myself whenever I do anything. Here's my Italian in me, right?
I like it.
I side myself. You know what this is?
No.
That's a dead one of these.
Okay.
So I side myself with the best business people I can side myself with, the best products. I am at a point in my life now that I turn down a lot of offers that come in because I don't want to be a business whore, shall we say, for the money. I'm always the first one to cash the check at the bank on a Monday. But the bottom line is, it's not about the money. I'm interested in making everybody around me healthy, wealthy, and prosperous. It'll all come back to me. So I have a different attitude. But if it doesn't fit who I am, if it's not a quality product, I will not do it. I just can't. And I turned down some, crazy things. You saw the other company I just started while we're talking about me shilling for everything I do. Millions.co.
Oh, yes.
Company that is really taken off. Where we're branding and marketing and helping every athlete, from NCAA athletes to professional. We have baseball players from the MLB joining, football players, the NFL, UFC fighters, MMA fighters, Bellator, you name it. They're coming in because we brand them. I can create merchant, even for you, like Thug Nose. I know you have your outlets. Here's the thing. When you do a deal, this is what we do. When you do a deal with a company, whether it's a Nike or whatever, you're lucky to get 10 or 12% of your sales. Okay. We give 70% of the sales or more back to the athletes. Okay. They don't pay for anything. We ship all over the world. I can have a whole merchandise line. I can recreate Thug Nose for you by Monday and have it ready to be shipped all over the world, and you just promote it. And then we have the cameo features and the video features that we just had a thing last night where baseball players had that were on it, had people watch the World Series game they weren't playing in, and they could interact with the fans while they're watching the World Series on a AMA Ask Me Anything, watch me, kind of like Joe Rogan's fight.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is get back as an example to the UFC or to fighters who I love, and I want them all to make $1 million every night they step in the octagon. That's my goal. I would love to see that happen, and they do make tremendous amounts of money. I don't care what anybody says. The UFC pays very well. But the bottom line is, when they're not getting a fight card paycheck, a lot of them don't know what to do.
Sure,
they want to train, and instead of having I want to give them a way to make money and a way to brand themselves to their social media fan base and everything. Because that's what it's all about in business, like you've done. I've known you since you started, like you said. I'm a huge fan of yours, aside from us being good friends. And the progression and evolutionary process of your career is absolutely amazing, and look how you've branded yourself. Well, that's what it takes in business, right? To be consistent and sustainable over a period of time.
Now, as you know, Bruce, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and you are very you're very imitatable, right? Because you're so good at your job and you've got this iconic voice and people associate you with the UFC. I want to ask you this question. Are you familiar with this young man who has been walking up to fighters imitating you, and if you close your eyes, it sounds just like you? For those that don't know who this man is, can I play a clip very quickly here of him? I think this is when I first stumbled across him. He's walking up to Jorge Masvidal at an autograph signing. Take a look at this, and you'll be able to listen to it, Bruce. Take a look at this.
Presenting a boxer holding a professional record, 35 wins, 15 losses. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Miami, Florida, presenting the UFC BMF champion and the number 4 ranked welterweight contender in the world, Jorge Game Bread Masvidal.
I mean, Bruce, that is pretty damn good. What do you think?
I'd say that, I got a kick out of it seeing that, but here's my opinion of it. Okay.
Let's go.
Let's be serious and let's talk business.
Yeah, let's go.
To get anywhere in life, you need to create your own style.
That's true.
Okay. If anybody could have copied and imitated anybody, it would have been me, my legendary great brother, Michael Buffer, for Let's Get Ready to Rumble. I was never interested in being Frank Sinatra Jr. I knew it would get me nowhere. Might have got me a little bit of work, but I wouldn't have been happy. I told myself in the first 2 years that I started this thing to 3, if I don't develop my own style, I'm going to get out of it because I have other ways to make money. Okay. I didn't want to be that guy just, I don't want to mention any names. There's a lot of people out there that have copied Michael in the past. One is fairly popular and people we got on for always trying to be like Michael. And I don't want to say anything, but the point I'm trying to make is, and I'll answer your question, is if you want to make your mark in life, you got to be distinctive. You got to have your own style. Okay, you can learn from others. I always tell everybody to learn from others, but develop your own style. Juxtapose it in one big ball and develop your own style. Now, let's get back to him. Yes, very entertaining, cute. I saw it. I got a giggle out of it. I think he's maybe 60%, near what I sound like.
Oh, I mean, not even close.
Inflection.
60's being kind. Come on, Bruce.
I'm trying to be kind. Okay. And I'll tell you what, I give him a little award for the balls to walk up to the fighters and do all that. But, now I understand. I talked to Jorge too, because I saw him at a recent show and I understand they gave him a job and I thought that's great. I'm happy for him. Success breeds competition and competition breeds success. And I'm the first one to want to see everybody be successful. Okay. But I told Jorge, I said, listen, give him a little message from me. I said, thank you for the invitation. Watch how you physically move. You'll probably hurt your hip. Okay. Because I've seen people try to recreate my moves, which I don't know what I'm going to do till I do it. I never say, oh, whatever. Sure. The 180 is a standard for the main event and, whatever. But if I jump, if I move, if I swing, whatever, I know that octagon like a basketball player knows his half court. I know where I'm at every moment of the night. So I just gave Jorge a little information to say to him. I said, look, tell him I wish him all the best. I'm very happy for him, but concentrate on developing his own style. He's got a workable voice that he can develop that tool over time, handle himself with class. And Jorge, when it comes to him and it comes to your promotion, make sure he doesn't say it's time, we're going to have a conversation.
Let's go, Bruce. Let's go.
So let's go. That's it. But I was very complimentary. It's all good. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to make money. Don't step on my toes.
That's right. You know what's one of the
things? Don't step on my toes.
I love it, Bruce. I love it. I like seeing that dog come out in you. That's good. I mean, look.
Oh, there's a dog. I'm a nice guy.
I know.
Don't make me walk over the line.
You know what I love when you do? Something I've always tried to recreate. You have the cards and the way you flip them in back of you when you're done. I mean, you do that so because what people don't understand is you have multiple cards in your hand, but you're able to flip each one and hold on to the rest. That's a skill in its own right, in addition to the jumping around and the voice and everything.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you a little trick that I do. I don't have any cards here to show you. I'm making the cards 268 now, but in the bottom left corner of the card, I cut a little hole out.
What?
Right? Yeah, there's a little, and I put my pinky in it.
Really?
So if I'm holding, it's because I move so much. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm just being protective. So when I flip that card back, 'cause I don't want to sit there. I don't stand still.
Right.
I did in the beginning. I thought that's what you had to do. Then I realized there was a lion inside me that had to come out. I had to move. Okay. It's like, ever see Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid with Paul Newman?
Yeah.
There was a scene when he and Robert Redford are target shooting. And Redford's like pointing and shooting. And he looks at Paul Newman and he's missing everything. He looks at Paul Newman. Can I move? Right. And then he moves and he hits everything. Mm-hmm. Okay. I need to move. Right. If I get to the point that I'm just standing still and flipping my cards, I'll probably retire. That's not going to fulfill my passion for what I do. So I flip that card in the back because that's just a standard. I want that card away. I flip it in the back. It's done. And the guy at the gate that works the UFC gate, he knows to go and pick it up for me. There was one fight before I tuned him in that the card was still on the floor.
Oh, no.
I got out watching the fight. And I'm freaking out thinking, oh, my God, I'm watching the fighter step to the left of it, to the right. I go, oh, please don't step on that and slip. I'm going to catch hell, So I made sure he knew that I always threw it so I wouldn't, forget to pick it up myself. But that's just something
I didn't know that. Trick of the trade. Now, when you when you perform at MSG, there's got to be like, after this past 2 years, almost 2 years of Apex shows, MT Arena shows, I'm imagining this week, especially after what happened last week, there's got to be a little extra juice in there, right, Bruce? I mean, you got to feel a little more pumped up about this Saturday.
I'm pumped right now.
All right.
I started the cards last night. I'm doing, Kamaru Usman's card and Colby Covington. And I'm like, holy hell, this is awesome.
Yes.
Namajunas and Zhang and Whaley. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Gaethje and Chandler. Oh my God. That's like the buildup is phenomenal. And we got an undercard, it's got Ally Quinton and Bobby Green on the prelims. I mean, how big is this card? It's sick. Good. If you're a UFC fan and you're not watching this Saturday night, you better be at your sister's wedding or something, because I don't understand why you're not watching it. This is a card for the ages.
Well, what I love about your presence on the card, the passion, the enthusiasm, but you represent and you remind us why we all fell in love with it, right? Because like I said, UFC 12, Bruce, was the last one that you missed, the last numbered event that you missed. I remember when you were doing those little interviews for MMArated.com. Remember that website that we did way back in the day? I mean, you are a fixture. And last week, you don't appreciate something until it's taken away from you. Last week, people were like, wait a second, numbered event, no Bruce Buffer. It's just not the same. And so you were missed dearly. And I'm so happy that you're back on Saturday at MSG.
Thanks so much. I got tears in my eyes from the plethora of things coming. Thanks you for your kind words. It means a lot.
It's from the heart. It's the truth.
Absolutely. You remember that I started one of the original MMA sites called Max Fighting.
I remember it. A legendary collection of talent. Yeah. Yes. And I'll never forget, and then I'll let you go after this because I know you have to run. We were at the MMA Awards, and I was sitting next to you, and I think it was your co-host at the time, a woman, and I won the award, one of the first times I won it, and I came back to my seat, and you turned to me and you said, "I'm really proud of you," and it came from a very sincere spot. And I'll never forget that. So thank you for your friendship, thank you for everything, your support over the years, and give them a hell on Saturday, Bruce. Looking forward to seeing you back where you belong.
Ariel, thank you so much. My best to you and your growing family, your beautiful family. I mean, it's just there's so much about you I'm so proud about. I love, again, watching your evolutionary process, and I'm one of your biggest fans. Just keep it going, okay?
Let's go.
Keep it going. And I will, again, I'm ready to roar the roof off of MSG. This is going to be a kid in the candy store, as I always am, but I'll be after a lot more candy on Saturday.
Can't wait. Thank you.
I'm going to let it fly. I'm going to let it fly.
All the best. So glad to hear that you're okay. Puncher's Chance, It's Time, the podcast. I mean, millions.co. The guy is a true Renaissance man. We'll see you on Saturday. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you so much. Take care. Big cheers and no fears. Buffer out.
There he is, the voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buffer.